People of the internet, welcome back to another video. It is I, Don Thomas, back in here with another one. As always, folks, the likes, the comments, the subscribes are all greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for the support on this channel. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into today's topic, folks. I got a video pulled up here. Comes from NBC News, in which they give a little bit more details about this tariffs talk by President Donald Trump. Of course, you guys have been hearing as of late, Trump has been busy since he's been in office. This is what? The start of week 3? Week 2, week 3, right? Since Trump has been in office, and he's wasted no time in terms of these executive orders and these, things that he's trying to put into place. These are things that some people are proud of. These are some things that people are hesitant of. But this tariffs one seems to be the latest one. Of course, he seems to be raising tariffs in other countries. So watch a little bit of this clip. Of course, I'll share my thoughts. I encourage you guys to share your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let's get into it.
President Trump signed sweeping tariffs on goods imported from Mexico, Canada, and China, some as high as 25%. And they're likely to have a major impact on what you pay. We have 2 reports tonight, beginning with Yamiche Alcindor, who is with the president. Yamiche, good evening. These are wide-ranging tariffs.
That's right, Jose. The president signed an order to implement 25% tariffs on Mexico and a 10% tariff on China. There's also a 25% tariff on Canada, except for energy products, which have a lower tariff, 10%. The White House says that's to keep costs down for things like oil and gas. This all takes effect on Tuesday. The White House says that this is to help with border security and to stop fentanyl from coming into our country. Now, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says Canada will be pushing back forcefully, but Trump officials say that if any country tries to retaliate, the tariffs could be increased. Jose?
Yamiche Alcindor in West Palm Beach, thank you. The president's tariffs are expected to have a major impact on the price American shoppers pay for everything from groceries to auto parts. Brian Chung explains why.
Companies across the country bracing for tariffs, with a warning that it's the consumer that's going to pay the price.
It's everything that is at risk of becoming more expensive.
From Mexico, importers will now have to pay 25% more for items like fruits, vegetables, beer, liquor, and electronics. From Canada, 25% more for potatoes, grains, lumber, and steel. And from both, a big increase on pharmaceuticals and on auto parts. At S&S Automotive in Secaucus, New Jersey, more expensive imported parts means even pricier routine fixes.
Oil changes mainly. That'll be the first noticeable one. An average oil change on most vehicles now anywhere between $50 to $80. It's probably going to end up over $100.
And that means that you've got to raise the cost just to make sure that you can keep the lights on.
Right. And I don't like to do that because I've been in this town, like I said, 38 years. So most of my customers I know.
Experts believe it won't just be auto stores passing on the prices, but supermarkets as well.
So we could see upward pressure for meat prices, upward pressure for dairy prices. Those are the types of categories that directly hit consumers' wallets. Tariffs
are paid for by the importing country, meaning S&S Automotive suppliers would bear the costs. President Trump's tariff announcement targets America's top 3 trade partners, who accounted for 42% of all goods imported into the U.S. The president suggesting further tariffs are on the way, meaning those price increases may just be beginning.
It's just another headache because now I have to explain to somebody else why we're raising them even more.
Brian joins us now. Brian, some major industries already warning prices are going to go up.
Yeah, Jose. Well, the Home Builders Association is warning that higher lumber costs will likely lead to higher home prices. And a coalition of spirits industries in all 3 countries say that this would significantly harm all 3 countries, reminding the White House that there are some industries like tequila which can't be reshored because they can only be made in Mexico.
Pause it right there. Interesting, folks. Wow. We can't seem to catch a break here in 2025, man. It looks like since 2024 leading into 2025, it's just been one thing after the other, one thing after the other, one thing after the other. Of course, there's some other incidents, of course, that I may or may not speak on. Of course, you've been hearing about these plane crashes and this, that, and the other. I'm not too sure if I wanted to actually do a separate video on that. But specifically with these tariffs, man, you hear, of course, how it's going to impact us, the consumer. So, of course, as if we haven't already been complaining about the prices in our groceries, how the prices of food is too high. We hear that Trump is now signing this tariffs of upwards of 25%, maybe if not more in some situations, from exports coming in from China, Mexico, and things of that nature. So, and Canada. That's concerning, folks. Again, we're living in a world right now where people are getting laid off from their jobs. People are having a hard time finding jobs. Inflation has already been sky high from how many months ago, maybe years ago now. What's the solution? The price, the cost of living is going up, but people's finances are going down or remaining the same. Jobs aren't properly compensating in all sectors. It's not even just one sector now anymore. Every sector within the workforce seems to be underpaid. And yet, what it just takes to be a participant in this game called life, right? Just an average human, right? A consumer, seems to be getting more and more expensive. What's the solution? It's frightening, folks. And again, man, it's now February. Of course, January seemed like a year in itself. So now that it's just now February, man, we're only 2 months into this year called 2025. A few weeks into this new Trump presidency. So it's just like, it's not looking too good, man. I could understand how people's stress levels are raising. I could understand how people's anxiety levels are raising. I can understand how the frustration within, people's households, again, whether you're single, whether you're a family of 2, 3, 4, 5, however many people you have in your household. I know for me as a single man right now, I'm concerned, right? And someone would argue and say, oh, you have it a little bit easier. Not necessarily, man. Not necessarily. I think even when I go to the grocery store now, I don't think I've ever paid less than $130, $150. Like the average for me as a single man right now, mind you, I go to the grocery store every other week, sometimes every week, every other week. So in a month, I don't think I've ever walked into the grocery store and spent less than $120. Like, and when I really want to grocery shop, like when I want to shop, like, all right, let me stock up on some things, I'm paying like maybe like $230 sometimes. When it's like, all right, let me, gather some things here. But when I just want to kind of just like restock some things for the week, whatever the case is, I don't think I've ever paid less than $120. So you do that a couple times out the month, that's a hefty bill. That's a hefty bill. So I don't know the angle here with these tariffs, man. I'm seeing a lot of narratives, of course. Even as look on my screen here, I'm seeing a lady. I'm choosing peace, leaving America after the election. Right? It says one lady. So a lot of people are having to resort to other means to find income, to maintain their households. Like I've been saying this for some time as well too. We got to get creative. The times are different, man. We can't. The traditional norms are out the window. I said this before. I've said this in another video before as well too. Like we got to get creative now in terms of just like survival. You see what I'm saying? Like in terms of generating income. Some of us may be holding on to that one job. Is that job enough? Do you feel secure and safe within that job? Right? A lot of us are maybe looking for alternative means of income, extra means of income, multiple streams of income. Like there's just a lot of things that like have people on edge because of how the world is moving. America as a whole, is moving right now. And Trump, of course, some people are praising some of these executive orders that he's been calling, but I think these tariffs seem to be a concern for all of us, if you ask me. Nobody wants to hear that their groceries are going to increase in prices. Of course, you heard some of the other things that are affected as well, too. Your oil changes may be going up, right? Your pharmacy drugs and what are the cases, all of that may be going up. There's a lot of things that will affect us all based off of these tariffs. And, of course, I've been hearing news as well, too. Of course, you heard, what is his name, Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, saying, like, he will push back. He will push back because he doesn't see it fit that Trump has the right to be raising, prices, of course. With those three countries, I think they said, what was it, Mexico, Canada, and China, make up 42%. 42% of the imports that come in. So 42% of the imports that come into the United States are from those three countries, and Trump is raising tariff prices on them. 42% is a lot. So if those three countries just say, hey, man, we're not going to go for that, so we're going to stop exporting to y'all or, push back. I think he said, well, we'll raise it to 50. What are the cases? However, they're, trying to rebuttal that. It's the consumer that's going to get the short end of the stick. So it's concerning, bro. Like, I don't know. And again, it's only February. It's only February. Look at all the events that are causing disruption within our everyday lives. I don't know, folks. Again, I've said this a lot of times as well, too. I don't necessarily see a bright future ahead as a collective. Like, I've said this before as well, too. Like, for me, like, I feel good about the things that I can control within my life, right? Within my sphere, within my world. But I don't feel good about the things that I cannot control. I can't control planes falling out of the sky every other week. I can't control grocery prices going up and other, cost of living expenses going up. Like, I can't control that. So those are the things that really have me on edge, to be completely honest. Like, I'm not necessarily sitting here stressing and, whatever the case is, because I feel like, at the end of the day, we're only here for a temporary amount of time anyway, but I don't necessarily want to get into that in this video in particular. But It's just getting harder and harder to play this game. I've been saying this. I've been using the analogy of the Hunger Games. If you guys are familiar with the Hunger Games, a good movie, you guys should check it out, at least the first one. Hunger Games, man, the arena is getting harder and harder to maneuver through. I feel like the people who are in charge, right? And I put in charge in air quotes because that's a whole nother story. But the rules of the game are getting harder and harder to maneuver. The arena, the obstacles that the participants, right? We're the participants in this arena. The obstacles that the arena is throwing at us as contenders in this game is getting a lot harder and harder to maneuver. People are having to come up with some creative means to survive. I want to go back to the way things were, folks, and I just don't know the exact means of how we could do that. Again, I don't think there's anybody right now who feels confident looking forward into our future. I don't know too many people right now that feel confident and optimistic into the outward trajectory of the status of our lives here in the United States of America. I don't. But those are my thoughts, folks. Of course, I want to hear yours down in the comment section below. As always, the likes, the comments, the subscribes are all greatly appreciated. I will catch you guys on the next one.